But first, I became obsessed and I started doing this in every aisle of the grocery store, coloring in which colors, which items on the shelves were owned by the general mega corporate blob and which ones were founder and family owned, etc. I did shampoo and deodorant and baby food, and I found out that some aisles are even worse than the tampon aisle. There are plenty of aisles in your grocery store where every single option is owned by the same singular mega corporate mass of just banker money. It's not just BlackRock. There's a whole rabbit hole that we're about to go down. But for example, the shampoo aisle at Target. To this day, it's probably my most viral video ever. There are whole aisles at Target where every single product is sold to you by the same bankers. And a bunch of these shampoos and conditioners are in class action lawsuits for causing hair loss. And one even faced accusations for making people's hair catch on fire. That's a true story. You can look it up. Those very same companies, though, they market hair regrowth products right there in the same aisle from the same company. Problem, solution. Baby food and baby formula was even worse because not only are there entire grocery stores where your only options are all owned by the same banking money black hole, but then I discovered this report written by the House Oversight Committee about toxic heavy metals in baby food, featuring all the brands that I had just been researching in the baby food aisle, because all of these brands that are featured in this report were the ones owned by the banking cartel megacorporations. There were way too many messed up findings in the report to cover them all here. And I would say that you should go find this report for yourself, but when I was getting ready for this video and checked back in on this report, it had been mysteriously taken down off of the government site where it had been hosted. So it's kind of weird. You can probably go find it on archive.org though, I would imagine. But just to give a summary, the report lists levels of various heavy metals that were determined by the FDA to be acceptable in food products. And then it goes on to say, quote, the test results of baby foods and their ingredients eclipse those levels, including results up to 91 times the arsenic level, up to 177 times the lead level, up to 69 times the cadmium level, and up to 5 times the mercury level. As in, yeah, you are reading that correctly. Some of these baby foods were testing at 177 times the acceptable level of lead in baby food. Not 177%, 177 times. That is 17,700% the legal limit of lead in baby food. And we wonder why we have a chronic disease epidemic. This is in the baby food, folks. It's babies. It's not even the regular food. But I didn't stop there. I looked up everything from detergent to cereal. Remember, colored in red means it's owned by the same banking cartel, most notably BlackRock and Vanguard and State Street. We'll get to that in just a minute. I did sauces, ice cream, dressings. Some types of products had more variety than others. Some aisles had a lot of family and founder-owned brands to choose from. But in the end, you start to realize what many of us all already kind of know, but have never quite visualized. All of our abundance, all of our foods and drinks and soaps and lotions, everything else. Thousands and thousands of brands to choose from, but it's actually all owned by just a handful of mega corporations. And now this is where we peel back the next layer of the onion. Because if you wanted to know who owns any given product, like say Hidden Valley Ranch dressing, which is one of my favorite examples, you can search that on the internet for yourself. This is what I was doing for every single product on those grocery store aisle shelves, and it took forever. So you search that, and you'll find out that Clorox owns Hidden Valley Ranch dressing, which is a bit alarming and not exactly what you were probably hoping to find. And notice that this is old news too. Clorox acquired Hidden Valley Ranch in 1972. They've been making the ranch since before most of you were born. But then, the inquisitive mind might ask, who owns Clorox? And the answer is that Clorox is a publicly traded company. I like to call it a mega corporation, but it just means that they sell shares and your finance bro buddy on Wall Street Bets can YOLO his fat bag into the stock and hope it goes to the moon. And this means that Clorox is owned by its shareholders. So, who are these shareholders? If you want to know who owns a public company like Clorox, the phrase you need to search for is institutional ownership. Because while your buddy who trolls Wall Street bets for the next short squeeze might be able to buy some shares, he's really just a tiny little germ compared to the big boys, the banks. So you're looking for the top institutional shareholders. And for Clorox, it's all these guys. Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street, Geode Capital Management, Morgan Stanley, FMR is Fidelity, Stifel Financial Corporation, they're not a common one, Citadel Advisors, Royal Bank of Canada, Champlin Investment Partners, LLC. Collectively, just quick math, looks like these top 10 owners collectively own about 35% of the company. And that's pretty typical. The more of this research you do, the more you realize that these sheets always seem to look the same. Dave's Killer Bread, not owned by Dave. Sorry, it was bought by Flowers Foods, a mega corporation. And they're owned by Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street, plus a bunch of banks and fund managers. General Mills, JP Morgan, Norfolk Southern, American Waterworks, top owners, Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street, highlighted in red, plus all the banks and financial institutions and investment firms making up the rest of the lists. You start looking at entire industries